Miss Charlotte Wyndham was many things: clever, outspoken, and entirely too bold for the comfort of certain members of society. While most young ladies were taught to temper their opinions, Charlotte had never quite mastered the art of restraint. Some called her refreshing, others scandalous. She preferred to think of herself as entertaining. Mr. Henry Pembroke, on the other hand, had been raised in a household where quiet decorum reigned supreme. His mother, Lady Pembroke, was the pinnacle of propriety. His sisters spoke only in gentle tones, and his aunts conversed exclusively about embroidery and the weather. It was, he often thought, a miracle he had not been bored into an early grave. Then he met Charlotte. Their acquaintance began at a garden party, where Henry overheard her telling a particularly self-important gentleman that if he spent less time reciting poetry about Greek goddesses and more time actually speaking to women, he might eventually find one willing to marry him. Henry, utterly charmed, could not stop laughing. Charlotte had turned to him with an arched brow. "Ah," she said, "a man with a sense of humor. I thought they were extinct." From that moment on, he was hopelessly in love. Unfortunately, Lady Pembroke was less amused. "She is entirely unsuitable," Lady Pembroke declared after their second meeting, where Charlotte had lightly suggested that the town's most tedious hostess might be more bearable if she allowed a little wine at her gatherings. "She has no sense of restraint, no decorum, no refinement." Henry, for his part, found Charlotte's lack of restraint the most delightful thing about her. As fate would have it, Charlotte and Lady Pembroke found themselves in company often, and each encounter resulted in Lady Pembroke scandalized beyond reason. "Young ladies should not offer opinions so freely," Lady Pembroke scolded her one afternoon, "and yet here I am, still offering them," Charlotte replied sweetly. "A dreadful habit, I know. A lady must be gentle in her manner." "I can be very gentle," Charlotte said thoughtfully, "when asleep." "You must learn to temper your tongue, Miss Wyndham." "How very dull that would be." Henry watched all of this unfold with great amusement and growing affection. Where other women simpered and fretted under his mother's scrutiny, Charlotte merely smiled, entirely unbothered. He adored her. And then, one fateful evening, everything changed. Lady Pembroke, quite by accident, overheard a conversation about Charlotte's future inheritance. To her great horror, or perhaps delight, she discovered that Charlotte was set to inherit a sum so vast it made the Pembroke fortune look like pocket change. "Oh," she said faintly, clutching at her pearls. "Oh well, that is rather interesting." The very next morning, Lady Pembroke paid Charlotte a visit. "My dear Miss Wyndham," she said, all former disapproval vanished, "I do believe we have misunderstood one another. You are quite spirited." "Yes, spirited. And a lively household is such a blessing, is it not?" "My dear Henry does require a wife who can challenge him, I see that now." Charlotte, utterly delighted, sent Henry a note that simply read, "Your mother now loves me. I believe I might faint from the shock." Henry wasted no time in calling upon her. "She truly approves of you now?" he asked, taking her hand in his. "Miraculously, yes." "And does her approval make any difference to your feelings?" Charlotte tilted her head, considering him. "Not in the least." Henry exhaled in relief. "Good. Because I loved you long before she did. Before I knew you had a fortune. Before I knew anything, except that you make life immeasurably more interesting." Charlotte's smile softened, and she squeezed his hand. "And I love you, Henry. You are the only quiet man I have ever met who is worth listening to." With that, he kissed her, quite forgetting they were standing in the middle of the drawing room. Lady Pembroke, upon entering and witnessing the scene, nearly fainted, but as she quickly reminded herself, Charlotte would soon be one of the wealthiest women in England, she decided to forgive them. And so, with love and laughter, the bold lady and the quiet gentleman found their happy ending, one that was far more interesting than either of them had ever imagined.